Okay, here we go. Let's do another episode of Read Taiwan News. There's something interesting I wanted to talk about here because it really sort of gets into Taiwan culture. This is a screenshot. We had a typhoon come through last night. This is a little headline here. That's the typhoon name. Made landfall, and what happened? This is Chiayi City. Big wind, and 10 people were injured here. It looks like something blew over, a big sign blew over. But there's something else that's happening here, and I want to take a look at it. And it is this case right here, because it highlights an interesting part of Taiwan culture that I've discovered shortly after moving here. Let's take a look. It doesn't matter which one we click on; they're kind of all the same. But what happened is a family in Feng Yuan, 5 of them, committed suicide. I believe the Min An, this character Min An, generally means a murder case, but what I've discovered is that they committed suicide, and the reason this happened is because they got involved in a fraudulent invest in gold scheme with some unscrupulous people, and the underground money lenders were involved. And this is still kind of goes back to the mafia stories in America, where you would go to the mafia to get a loan for your bank or to pay off your gambling debt or something with incredible interest rates. Well, it's the same thing here, and we'll look into the gang involvement in Taiwan shortly. But this is kind of a common thing, this get rich quick idea in Taiwan. And I was introduced to this very early on. I've been here 25 years. A co-worker years and years and years ago came to me and said, hey, got this great opportunity. There's 36 people in a group. Every month, each person puts the equivalent of about $300 into the pot, and one member gets the 36 members times $300, 10,000 US dollars every month to use as they went. And after 3 years, then everybody will have 10,000 US dollars. And I said, wow, that sounds great. Can I go first? I want to be the first person to take it out of the pot. And of course, the answer was no, because you know what it is. It's just a scheme set up by 5 or 6 people. They'll be the first people to get the $10,000, and then they suddenly just disappear, run away. So, second case that happened to me is I was cruising through the mountains one day, and there was a really nice roadside pullout, nice little cafe there. So I pulled in, sitting outside having my coffee, and just practicing my Chinese with the owner, who happened to be, according to him, an active police captain in one of the police departments here. And we got to chatting, and he seemed like a really nice guy. So we exchanged phone numbers at that time. I think we were just sending little SMS messages. There were no apps in that. And a few days later, I get a message, hey, I need some money. What the heck is going on? I don't even know this guy. I need 70,000 new Taiwanese dollars to get my brother out of jail. He's in trouble, and I can't tell anybody, etc., etc., etc. So this is unfortunately all too common in Taiwan. So what happened here, without getting into the Chinese characters too much in this one, I just want to talk about the aspect of this culture, is this family in Feng Yuan, a little suburb of Taizhong, 5 people, committed suicide. They got involved in a gold buying scheme to invest in gold, and then they got, according to the group, and this is an interesting thing right here. We'll find the characters. They're calling it the Li group. Li is a common surname in Taiwan. So the Li group enticed this family to invest in gold, and of course the returns were just so good that every family member started investing. And then suddenly they were told that things were going wrong, and they owed millions and millions of dollars, Taiwan dollars. And so they went to underground lenders, maybe what we call the Hei Bang, the black gangs, the black groups here. And they were indebted to them at exorbitant interest rates. And this family finally decided the only way out of this was to commit suicide, and that's what they did, unfortunately. So one person has been detained on this because there were intimidating threats made and intimations that they would be killed if they didn't pay this money that they owed. So it, it brings up an interesting aspect of the culture here, is that the gang or mafia, they call it gangs here, the Heibang, the same gangs are still operating, the same mafia groups are still operating in Taiwan and China that were hooked up with Chiang Kai-shek and the nationalists in the 1930s and 1940s, the Bamboo Union and the Green Gang and that type of thing. So let's go to Google and let's just do a search on that, and let's do this just for fun. Taiwan. Let's go Hei Bang. Let's see what comes up if we do that. There we go. Hei Bang. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here we go. So this is what we come up right away. The Hei Bang is just the black gangs, and this Bang, this character Bang, is would be associated like with a party, like a political party, like that type of thing, so a group, that type of thing. So here we go. The Bamboo Union Group, okay? You look back through history. The Four Seas Group, and this is the Heavenly Divine Path Group, that type of thing. So these are, it says the big three, right? Big three gangs still operating in Taiwan. Very interesting. So what's the history of those? Let's go Taiwan Heibang, and let's just do this Li Shi, and Li Shi is going to be history. I think I typed that wrong. Li Shi. So there it is. The first character, the first word that comes up is, whoops, I hit the wrong one. There we go. Let's see what we got here. So there's a Wikipedia page on there. Doesn't say when they really started. If we scroll down here, we don't really get a timeline. Oh, here we go. Look at that. The Four Seas Group around 1954. So 1957. Now this is in Taiwan, right? So this is all after the nationalists came to Taiwan after losing the Civil War in China. So it's very interesting that these gangs are still, it's like the mafia in the States, but the mafia in the States isn't really as active as it was, say, in the heyday, maybe from the 1930s to the 1970s or 80s. But they're still very active here, connected to the Yakuza in Japan and the gangs in Taiwan. So you read the history of Chiang Kai-shek, the nationalists, and how they started out, and the influence and the connection between these gangs and the political groups, etc., etc., is still a real thing here, and people can get wrapped up in these groups, particularly when they think there's a get rich quick thing that they become enticed into. And as I said before, it's very, very much a part of the culture here. I've discovered is there's always hear about people trying to get rich quick, doing something to get rich quick. Multi-level marketing is huge here just because of that. So interesting part of the culture. We didn't really dive too much into the Chinese characters other than the Hei Bang black groups, black gangs, that type of thing, underground money lenders, and the influence that they have, very real. Thanks.